Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Game Junk Podcast, episode 229, recording on Sunday, April 6th, 2025. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name is Andrew.
And the Switch 2 is officially here or coming in 2 months. We will be discussing the Nintendo Direct for the Nintendo Switch 2 for 4/2/2025 with tons of stuff to talk about. Are you guys excited? Are you ready for the Switch 2?
I'm getting there.
That sounds pretty excited, Sean. Relax. Gear down.
I mean, it's. I'm not going to give you my letter grading up front, Frank, but I will say, as a showcase of what's coming soon, it was a little underwhelming. But as you said before, new console launches are always exciting, regardless.
The best.
I would say I'm a little lukewarm on it, to be honest. But I could come around, I guess.
All right.
We'll
Well,
see.
I'm definitely excited. I'm more excited after watching the Nintendo Treehouse stuff. So there's a ton of footage and gameplay and breakdowns of the games and some of the features of the system that I didn't even know about until Sean told me. I think it's weird how low key dropping this information is, considering, the Direct was obviously a big deal. Tons of people were watching it, tons of views, but not a lot of views on those Treehouse things. So they're not really doing a great job of getting that information out there, in my opinion. But if you're interested in this console, also check out the Treehouse footage because it's pretty good and in 4K.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we're not going to go in order of the Direct. I honestly barely remember the order at this point. I didn't even make notes, but I think we'll go in just priority of kind of high level, big announcements and see where we need to cut it off. I think we're going to skip over a lot of the third party stuff for games that are just coming to the Switch 2 that have already been released on other consoles. All right, so release date. This is probably the biggest news. June 5th, 2025. So 2 months away. Pretty shocking. Well, I didn't think it was that shocking, but a lot of people did.
I think we did. I didn't. Sean, didn't you think it was going to be June? Didn't you anticipate June?
That was the rumor. So I feel like
Okay.
that was kind of out there, but not confirmed for sure. So yeah, I mean, I think we knew that they could be ready to launch at any point. It's taken quite a while to get here.
And there's been many rumors of just pausing the release to account for pre-order shortages, and it's been ready to go for a while is the vibe that was out there. Okay. Sorry, you were going to say something?
Oh, me?
Yeah. And then
No,
I kind
I
of
just-
interrupted you. Sorry.
No, yeah, it's just we knew they could go at any time, but it was like, what are they waiting for? And I think, like I said before, I think releasing it kind of early, right before the summer starts, makes sense for something that's aimed at kids. But you always wondered, will they wait for September? Because that's kind of the classic time to release something like this.
Well, I think that used to be the status quo. And with games, we've seen almost January, February be a big release window. So it's pretty light on release window that time. So people might have stuff to spend money on. They might be curious. And I don't think the date matters at all. I think it's that much sooner that they're getting people to spend cash. So I would think at this point, they're internally saying, get this out as soon as we can.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Sean.
Just on the date, the one thing that's kind of a big question mark is what are the launch titles, right? Like we know Mario Kart is a launch title.
Yeah.
There was a couple other indie games and upgraded versions of Switch games. Was there anything else?
I don't think so.
That's the big question.
The only thing I'm not quite sure about, I assume it's going to be a launch title, it has to be a launch title. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. The blockbuster title. That's the equivalent of the Switch 1-2 kind of game. and I watched the Treehouse footage on that, and it's about as boring as you thought it was watching the initial. Like, it's just there's some mini games that use that look like the equivalent of the swatting flies mini game in Mario Paint to show the mouse cursor and walking around this boring museum. I can't believe they're charging people money for this. If anything, Nintendo should be like dragged for right now. We don't know the price yet, but charging money for this is insane.
Yeah, well, they are getting dragged for it big time, and like deservedly so. Astro's Playroom, was
Yes.
that what that one was called? Was a free game with PlayStation 5. It kind of acted as a little bit of a tutorial and introducing the features of the system, but it was a full-blown game, and it was a great game, and it was free. So I don't know what Nintendo's thinking there.
They are very greedy, very, very greedy. And to me, the internal discussion would be, well, we want people to buy games on launch. If we give them for free, they're likely just to play upgraded versions of old stuff, and maybe not spend as much as we want. So let's get them any way we can. The Nintendo fan boys and girls are just going to be all over whatever we put out that day. So if we ever have a chance to charge money for this, it's on launch day when there's only one other game that potentially is a pack-in game.
Was the price announced?
No, not a lot of prices for games other than Mario Kart, including upgrade bundles, which we'll get to. So June 5th, 2025, pre-orders start next week, supposed to be April 9th. Now, in the US, there's been a delay on pre-orders due to all the ambiguity with tariffs, and Nintendo doesn't know how to respond or what the consequences is going to be to them for this console. So Sean and I were discussing before the show, I think all the other countries, there's still a go for the 9th, except for the US, but maybe we'll get some clarity on that soon. All right, let's just put it out there now. Are you guys planning to pre-order?
No.
Yes, I will.
Of course, it's not even a question. The only question to ask is, are you pre-ordering the Mario Kart bundle or the just base console edition?
It must be the Mario Kart. You have to.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, it's the only game you can play. So
Yeah, I'm worried that the pre-orders for the Mario Kart edition are going to sell out. Like, I want to know what the split up is there, because why wouldn't you? You get the game for a huge discount, at least in Canada. So while on that topic, price, base edition is $449.99 US and $499 with the Mario Kart World bundle with a digital download. In Canada, it's $629 for the base edition and $699 for the World Mario Kart edition, which is quite a big chunk of change. That's not including your camera, that amazing camera peripheral, Pro controller. I mean, I'm looking to spend. I'm probably going to be out $1,300 on June 5th. It looks like.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the big thing, right? Like, people are excited for Switch 2. People give Nintendo a free pass for a lot of things, as Frank likes to say.
Let's call it for everything, not just something, for everything.
This price point is a big deal for a lot of people. It's more expensive than people were expecting, I think. And now with that pre-order delay in the US, it really opens up the question of, are they going to raise the price? Because if the tariffs are an issue, they're going to have to. So I don't know if they just wait it out and hope the tariffs go away. Doesn't sound like that's happening. That's not going to be good for Nintendo.
Let's start a pop-up shop right by the Fort Erie border. We'll just pre-order a ton of these things and we'll sell them at a discounted price. I think that's how we make our fortune.
I'm in.
All right. We got it. So get on that pre-order. Be ready on Friday, April 9th. We got to get at least 100 of these things. Probably 1,000 would be best.
Okay.
You got to front the cash for that.
On the price thing, I find it crazy that they're like more expensive than a PS5, and it's also like on par with the like OLED Steam Deck in terms of price, which seems like crazy to me. I don't know if this is like the Nintendo, you know, markup that you just have to pay, but it seems very high relative to even other consoles. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know if I didn't have time to look at any like the spec deep dives, if there are any out there, but I'm pretty sure it's not as powerful as a PS5. Now it has the portable factor, I guess, but I don't know. When I think portable, I think less expensive than a home console, not more. Even like the Steam Deck, which I think is probably not as high resolution screen. I think I was looking, but probably equivalent in power. And you know, even that price point for that is like very kind of shocking to me that that's even that high. So I don't know. I think the price point might hurt them a bit in this, like, especially with the current like economic situation that's going on. I think people will be maybe a little wary to pick this thing up at that high of a price.
Yeah, we say that a lot. And when the PlayStation price was announced and all these other things, they're still always hard to find. I think part of it is we grew up like just us getting older where consoles were $300, and it does seem like a lot. I don't know if it's perceived as much out there in the real world these days. And
Maybe not.
I don't know.
I think that for a Switch 2, I think it is high in a lot of people's opinion. And like, you know, you got to think of like we've talked about before, like, you know, with the PS5 Pro or something, like it's a high price. A lot of people have like a gaming PC. They compare that and they say, well, I'd rather have a gaming PC at that price. The Switch 2, for a lot of people, I think, as with the Switch, it's a secondary console. Not a lot of people are making this their primary game console. It's kind of like, well, if you have kids or you just want to have those Nintendo first-party games, you're going to buy it. But at that price, that's a lot for just a second console. And I don't know. I do think it's going to be an issue.
I mean, I would assume it's a pretty big factor. A lot of people pirate Nintendo games. There's a very large emulation pirating community where people are like, well, I can play Breath of the Wild at 4K and 120 frames per second for free on my computer. I'm not going to buy this thing. So I wonder how much they're going to crack down on pirating, and if the price is this high, will that affect them? I mean, it's going to affect them to some degree, but I mean, they print money. Who cares? They're going to do whatever they want, and we're going to buy it. Well, Sean and I are going to buy it, so we got to have it. Yeah. Now, in terms of value proposition, we don't know any like internal tech specs to my knowledge. The previous rumors were something that it was the equivalent of a PS4 Pro or two Switches sandwiched together in terms of power. I don't think we have any more details than that right now, but the Direct did establish 4K support, and the screen and supports 120 hertz or frames per second. And also certain games on the dock will support 120 frames per second in 4K as well. I think they all support 4K and HDR, which is like, if they didn't, that would be a bigger news story. So that could have been a problem. Joy-Cons, we've kind of talked about those in the other Direct. Nothing really new there, except I think it was never stated before that the L and R buttons, when holding it in like sideways mode, are metal, and that's part of the magnetism design to attach the Joy-Cons, which is kind of interesting. And it's not an OLED screen. This is probably the biggest discussion point in terms of tech specs from the Direct. It is a 7.9 inch LCD screen that is 1080p. So not a factor for me. A lot of people were very upset by this. I only play in dock mode. Real gamers only play in docked mode unless you're like absolutely desperate and pathetic to play like at a cottage or on the shitter or whatever. That's the only way you're actually allowed to play dock mode. And I think that obviously they're setting up an OLED version of this in 2 years. It's like inevitable. They already have an OLED Switch.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the reaction to that is again tied to the price. Like if the price is higher than people thought, maybe if it was an OLED screen, they would kind of be like, okay, I understand, but it's not. So why? Where's that money going?
Yeah, I was kind of shocked because, I mean, it's got to be. I would be very curious to hear manufacturer price of this thing versus like retail price. I think there's quite a lot of markup here. It doesn't really get into the speed of the storage. It's 256 gigabytes built into the console. In order to extend your storage, it's got to be micro SD Express. So a faster version of micro XD, which is kind of interesting. It, like, obviously all of the latest consoles have rapid, like storage and loading. That was a huge part of the PS5. Seems like there's an equivalent, maybe not quite to the same degree. We don't know the tech they're using internally for this, but I don't know tech specs on micro XD Express. But I'll just say I watched the Treehouse, and it showed a side by side loading of Breath of the Wild for original and enhanced version, and it was like substantially faster. It was like a blink compared to the old game. So I guess that's a good sign to some degree.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Red cartridges. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that at all. And
you don't buy physical, so what do you care?
Yeah, I don't care about, like, I'm not like losing any sleep over it. I just think it's a bad decision. Does your cartridges are always like gray or black. Obviously, it's to distinguish and maybe to clear the air or confusion with problems that plagued the Wii U versus the Wii. It seems like all of this stems from that. I just don't like it as an aesthetic decision. Anything else tech-wise that people have thoughts on, or maybe I missed?
No, I don't think so.
We didn't talk about the mouse controls very much. I mean, it looks like they have that like wheelchair basketball game that they showed that kind of shows it off. And I was listening to some podcast with some guy who had hands on, and he said, like, you can use them on your legs, like on your pants essentially, and they function just fine. So that's like,
they're pitching to play it on your legs a lot. And I just want to go on the record. I am not in favor of this in any form. It's like, yeah, well, you can play the game, but yeah, just use your legs. Are you out of your fucking mind? I don't want to use my legs. And I also don't want to get a table out. Like I'm almost at a point where I'm a non-purchase for that game. And I think it looks kind of good. Using your legs. What is this? What is this company trying to sell to us?
I mean, I hadn't heard that part, but like in the Treehouse, for Metroid Prime, they showcased using that a bit to aim. And the whole time I was thinking, well, this is like you have to have a table in front of you, first of all, which I guess a lot of people
Sean, you have your legs in front of you.
Right. I mean, we'll see how well it works on your leg. I don't know. But that was my first thought. And then, I was thinking originally when they announced it, like the mouse kind of makes sense for something like a Mario Maker or like something with a creative mode, but to use it for aiming, wouldn't most people also want a keyboard? And they, with Metroid Prime, they were doing the dual Joy-Con thing.
That actually sounds pretty good to me.
It makes a bit more sense for sure.
But with Metroid Prime, that game is all about lock on anyway. How many times are you free aiming in that game? So I did think the tech, when they showcased it in the Treehouse for Metroid Prime, was pretty cool. It's instantaneous. You don't have to like go to an option screen and switch it. You just lift it or put it down, and it immediately changes the reticle in the game and your aiming mode. So that's kind of cool.
The only thing about it is, I don't know if you guys have used a mouse in the past, 35 years. None of them are shaped like a tiny little stick, right? They're all ergonomic. Like, you are not going to want to use this thing for more than like 5 minutes. Once you start using it, you're going to get carpal tunnel in your wrist and your fingers, and you're going to be like, screw this, I'm going back to regular mode. There's no way this is going to be comfortable for people to play any sort of game long term. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to want to be, aiming with this thing for a 4-hour session of Metroid 4 Beyond or whatever the hell it's called.
Well, yeah, I mean, drag and drive, getting back to the playing on your legs thing, it kind of makes sense for that game because you're doing it in vertical motions up and down for the most part.
Yes.
For Metroid Prime, like you have to go left and right. You need a space. My leg, I have big legs. What about people with small legs that don't have as much real estate? I mean, I'm not even
What
going
about
to go
people with no legs?
I'm not even going to go to the legless community out there because I'm not surprised there's not a controversy about that with drag and drive. Like it's based on, you know, people in wheelchairs playing basketball, some of which don't have legs. So you're telling them to play on their legs? How, Nintendo, get real. Let's go after Nintendo.
Where's the mob at?
I'm giving you ammunition. Go after them.
The leg mob.
Okay. So I think, last thing that's bleeding into the next topic, the C button. I don't think we officially knew what that was before. We just knew there's this fancy new button. That is the chat button, to probably 90% of the world's disappointment. Some basic chat integration. Now they're selling this feature pretty hard. Game chat is a new feature on the Switch 2 where you can, I think it's max 4 people you can connect with and chat. There's a mic built in to the controllers. And
I think it's built into the
system,
the Switch itself.
Oh, it's far away. That's right. Pardon me. And that makes more sense for portable mode as well. So it's going to isolate your sound and do noise cancellation. No real demonstrations on how effective that is quite yet.
Yeah.
But you can connect with up to 3 other people and voice chat and see their game screen as well. A lot of people are talking about the fact that it is very choppy. It's running at a reduced frame rate, and
in the direct for sure. The footage they showed, there was choppiness. I saw it being used.
It's by design. It's by design.
Yeah, but like I saw it being used in one of the Mario Kart Treehouse videos, and it looked better.
I don't think so. I think when it's in mini mode, where you see all 4 people at the bottom of your screen, it is running at a like substantially reduced frame rate, which isn't that big a deal. Like if you really wanted to focus on someone's screen, they can share their screen explicitly, and then it runs at, I think, 1080p. Don't quote me on that. But they showed that in one of the Treehouse sessions. Now, and this is classic Nintendo fan rationalizing. They showed this, and people are like, you know what? I'm really glad that they showed how it actually works and showing that it's going to be a bit of a stutter rather than, you know, making it look better than it actually works.
So
I'm really happy they're so transparent and upfront with how their things work. Like, this is insane behavior. It's technically disgusting. It looks gross. Whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to use this feature. I don't think anyone is going to use this feature.
The one thing that is cool about the feature is, because I was thinking about it with the Mario Kart thing, there's not a lot of easy ways to, if you're going to stream and you are playing a game where each person has their own view, there's not a lot of easy ways to put all those views together and stream that video. Whereas it looks like this would potentially do that. Now,
my guess is you won't be able to share a screen with people's other
you
screens.
might have to capture it and share it yourself externally, but I don't know. It's just a thought, I guess.
Yeah, it's so good. You get the one and then 3 other screens running at like a pathetic frame rate and with a 120p resolution camera. Like, this is the future. This is the future of gaming.
It's probably gold for every game that's got that going on, because then they can just reduce the rendering of their game to a smaller scope and run faster. Who knows? It's win-win.
Yeah, this feature, well, let's keep going. That's just scratching the surface. That's basically audio chat and screen share. Also part of this is a new peripheral announced called the Nintendo Switch 2 camera. The retail price in the US for that is $49.99, so not too bad. This is a camera that goes presumably next to your TV and captures has some processing where it's able, this is the part I'm kind of skeptical on, but seems to be working for the most part, captures and highlights different people in the room and frames them properly. And if you have a family with 4 people, they showed this in Mario Party Jamboree, it will capture each of their faces individually within the same room and associate them with a different player, which is kind of cool tech. Out of anything with the new online services, not for the chat, you can include your face or bust as part of a embedded image on what you're streaming, so people can see you playing as well, just like a basic streamer kind of setup at a lower resolution, albeit. But they also, this is the only interesting thing to me out of all the stuff related to chat and camera, it will capture their faces, and in certain games that choose to support it, we'll see how many there are, but Mario Party Jamboree Enhanced Edition for Switch 2 will have special games, and they capture almost beside the player that's playing their face while they're playing. So you're viewing the game and you see a little bubble near their avatar that's showing how that player is reacting or what they're doing. I think this is a brilliant idea. I could see tons of uses for this. So far, this is the only confirmed game that does this. Mario Kart World, I thought, might use it. You can see the person ahead of you, and it had like a bubble with like their name. I thought maybe they might support camera for that. I don't think they do.
I mean, it seems like they should, or they could, because I mean, the arcade games that they had, that was a big thing, right? That there was little cameras on them. I don't know if they showed live faces or if it was just you took a picture of yourself at the beginning. I don't remember now. Yeah,
I mean, if they don't, I'm assuming it's a technical reason, but I would love to see that in Mario Kart. I think this could be very cool, and and you don't have to look down at the bottom of the screen. It's captured right there, people's expressions for party games. Love this idea. It's almost, I'm not a big Mario Party guy. I almost used a voucher on Mario Party Jamboree so that I can get this and experiment with it. I'm kind of coming around to Mario Party. I played with my family recently. The mini games are kind of fun. And I'm thinking about checking this out. It's a very interesting feature. Any thoughts on the camera or maybe potential uses for that camera?
Nothing more than what you already said. I think you kind of framed it up pretty good. Being able to like pick out of the different faces and associate them properly is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's something like they kind of did some things with the Wii U for that as well. Like I remember the WarioWare game. I was actually playing it not that long ago, where you can take pictures of your face and put that in the game in certain ways. Yeah, I mean, it's got potential. I definitely am thinking of picking up the camera, which surprisingly, probably a lot of people are just looking at that as like, why would I ever buy that? If I want to talk to my friends, I'll use my phone or something. But if they start adding gameplay stuff for it, I'm kind of interested.
I can't find any stats. Okay, about the camera resolution or how many pixels it is. It doesn't look very high quality. I assume that it's not just what it's streaming the output of the image at, but actually what it's capturing at. I'm guessing it's pretty low resolution.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think they mentioned it.
Okay. So I guess the other kind of tech thing to touch on is a new Pro Controller for the Switch 2, which has a C button. Thankfully, we love that C button. And audio jack built into the controller. I guess people really wanted that. I don't care. And we'll just say at the top, white buttons instead of like this, a uniform color. So it's kind of two-tone, which I am not crazy about. Don't like it. Why are you doing this? Any thoughts on the Pro Controller? I'll say, I don't think they've confirmed whether you can use old Joy-Cons or Pro Controllers with this console yet. I have not found any information.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, but I think you just answered the question with the mention of the C button. That might be the reason why you can't use old controllers with the new system.
No, that might get people fired up. If you can't connect old Joy-Cons and Pro controllers to this console, now we're talking. Now we can.
I mean, why would you think that? Do you use PlayStation 4 controllers with your PlayStation 5?
No, I don't.
I know you can use Xbox One with. I think you can use Xbox One with Series X, but that's like part of their whole shtick.
I mean, Wiimotes could be used with the Wii U. I mean, granted, it is still a Wii, but yeah, it's maybe you can use them for old games, like old Switch 1 games on the Switch 2, perhaps.
Yeah, they have a lot of Joy-Cons collected, and if they want to play Mario Party, and there's like 4 people, and they have to go and buy 2 new Joy-Cons to support that. I personally don't care all that much. I just think it's interesting that they've mentioned nothing about this, and they've been pretty good about controller support for stuff in the past, I think, anyway, compared to other companies. So just an interesting neglect there. Some other prices here. A pair of Joy-Con 2s, $89.99 US. Charging grips, $34.99. Straps, $12.99. Joy-Con wheel, $19.99 for 2. Big seller. Nintendo Switch 2 dock set, $109.99. And some other stuff that we don't really need to get into.
I'm seeing here the old Joy-Con and old Switch Pro controller are compatible. I don't know if it's compatible with all games, but it says they can be paired.
Wow, where'd you find that? Is this official? Is this rumor or speculation, which I refuse to comment on?
No, it's on the Nintendo website.
Shit, I guess I didn't look too hard. I'll be honest. I didn't look at all. They just didn't. They just didn't mention it in the direct.
If it's not in the treehouse, Frank doesn't know about it.
That wasn't in the treehouse. Wasn't in the direct. All right, shall we get to the games?
Well, there's one thing they announced that I have written down that we haven't touched on, and that was the game share.
Oh
feature.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
And you can like buy a game and then share it with up to 3 other systems as long as they're on your local network, I think, which is pretty cool. And I think it said it worked for Switch 2. Like if you buy a game, you can send it to Switch and Switch 2s to play it. It'd probably have to be a Switch game to be a Switch to run on a Switch.
Is this the same as the virtual game card we talked about last week, or is this different?
It's different. It's like you buy a game and then you can play it with up to 3 other people without them having to buy it.
Oh, okay.
At the same time,
it's kind of like a temporary uploading of the game to the system, I think only while it's on your network or something, like you said.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Split Fiction thing where you buy one copy and your friend can play with you.
Yeah, I think they had something like this for the 3DS at one point, maybe.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it says it's only with compatible games. And so far, they said Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Super Mario 3D World, Mario Odyssey, Big Brain Academy, and Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics are the only ones on that list.
Huge. This is a big announcement. That's interesting, and I am remembering it now from the direct and how quickly it escaped my mind once they said the compatible games. Not that I really care about that feature, but it would be a nice value proposition to some for sure. Okay, game time. Get to the games.
Although, can we start kind of as a bridge the price? Did you see the prices for games?
Oh, for games, yeah, good call.
Yeah. So they've announced it's $80 US for a digital copy of a game, $90 for physical, which is going to put it in the, 100 plus for Canada, big time. That's a lot. $80, which means, I don't know. That's a lot of money for these games, I think. And so the $50 equivalent pack-in game for Mario World, like you were saying, Mario Kart World, sorry, I think it's going to fly off the shelves, like you were saying before. You're saving $30. The game's probably never going to go on sale, so you might as well bundle it if you ever think of wanting to buy this game.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a no-brainer for me personally, and I think I saw somewhere conversion is approximately $115 Canadian. So I'm guessing they bump it up to $119.99 for the physical edition of Mario Kart World. No confirmation on any of those prices yet that I've seen anywhere. All speculation, which I will not comment on.
Yeah. And the other thing, the upgrade packs, I was just kind of doing some research about it. Sounds like they're going to be in like the $15 to $20 US range, which is pretty high. What weren't the Sony ones, like PS4 to PS5, weren't they only $10?
They're typically free or $10 or $15. So
okay.
In Canada anyway, the 10 in the US. I know the Days Gone upgrade is 15. That's coming out soon. So it varies, but yeah, 15 is the max I've ever seen for that. I expect Nintendo to surpass that by at least $5, if not more.
Yeah.
Now, the good news on that front, while we're talking about it, is if you have the Nintendo Switch on or Nintendo Online upgrade expansion, you get all upgrades for free. So you don't have to pay for the upgrades. So
is that like a new tier they're adding? I didn't hear about that.
Well, there's for a while now, there's been like there's the base tier where you get the Nintendo SNES and Game Boy Virtual Console, and then the higher one where you get like expansion packs for games and the other virtual consoles. As long as you're signed up to that one, you get upgrade editions for any games you own.
Oh, okay.
So
that's a very reasonable price too. That package, I pay for that. It's very reasonable. Isn't it like under $100 a year or something like that? Like it's very reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. And the GameCube, which we haven't talked about, Virtual Console is also included as part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't realize the Switch 2 upgrades were included with that. That's
neither did I.
Something. That's
I agree. That's very, very generous, Nintendo. You treat us so well. We love you. Thank you for just giving us those for free. We'll buy everything you sell us. Okay.
Does that mean we don't have to buy Metroid Prime for the Switch 2 version? We could just buy the Switch version and get the upgrade.
My guess is no. That will not be an upgrade edition. That will be two different SKUs.
Could be.
And I know some people, are you one of them, Sean, that pre-ordered Metroid Prime 4 Beyond
I forgot
a long time ago on Amazon?
I have no idea. I think I got it from Walmart, maybe. I have no idea if it's still valid. I'll have to look into that.
Well, I'm sure it is. You get a nice Switch version of that game. Congratulations.
That's true.
You were rubbing it in when you pre-ordered, like, I'm getting it for this. You get the shitty old version. Looks good on you, you fuck.
We'll have the same conversation when you get your Wii U version of that Kickstarter game you pre-ordered like 25 years ago.
Fair enough. Touche. Like, I can't even think of what it's called anymore. Devil
Inside or something?
Devil Inside. Oh. Yeah. Where's the updates on the Devil Inside? If that doesn't come out this year, we should literally start like a protest or a riot. It's insane that this game has been going on for so long. And they had an update last year saying it's coming soon. And it was part of anyway, moving on. This is a Nintendo pod. Let's get into the big one, I think. To me, it's not really the big one, but the feature game for the console debut is Mario Kart World. We'd seen some clips of this before, got an official title, releasing same date as the console. And not surprisingly, many people were speculating is an open world Mario Kart that the tracks connect and you can do a Grand Prix and it goes from one course to the end with some meat in between. Sean, did you watch the direct on that? Any thoughts? Or the Treehouse, I should say. Pardon me.
Yeah, I mean, most people are obviously comparing it to Forza. One thing with that is like, you if you're doing a series of races, you actually drive from race to race, and it's kind of part of the race. So from what I was understanding, is not like in that mode, it's not laps, it's like legs of a race or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's considered 4 different races. It's different for every course that I saw. It depends how long the distance is. I know the one where they were going to New Donk City, which is actually a really cool track where it's basically a Donkey Kong level if you look at it from the profile. it had 8 portions, some of which were in the lead up to getting to the actual course. I assume and pray to God that there is just a classic Grand Prix mode where you do laps on tracks. I actually don't think a lot of these tracks are set up for laps for the most part, other than the first one.
Yeah, I was wondering. I mean, I didn't watch all of the Treehouse stuff for this, so I'm not too sure. I did watch a bit of Free Roam, which, I mean, I was kind of interested in that, but from what I saw, it wasn't that, like, there was not a lot there. Like, I thought there would be more like quests and like you maybe items you can find to like level up your carts and stuff, but
Collectibles. I mean, there's the food things you can pick up as power-ups and eat them. And they did show them collecting points with that or something like that. So I think there's going to be more of that stuff. There was not a lot of check boxes in when I watched the Treehouse, but a little more than I thought. And there has to be a classic GP mode, because what if you want to do like a 4-race GP with tracks all over the map that are not even close to connecting? So
yeah, that's true.
It's got to be coming. I think the open world racer and having all like these things connected through a hub world might be one of the most overrated ideas in gaming history. Like, I'd rather be doing a race than driving to my next race. If there's not a lot of motivating factors in the world itself, like collectibles or things to do, I don't give a shit. Like, I just want to go to the next race. But, you know,
that's like, I thought Nintendo would have that figured out, and from what I saw, they don't. But I could, maybe there's more.
I think there'll be collectibles for sure. Now, we haven't touched on, there is grinding and wall riding, basically. And one guy was chaining like back and forth along walls and driving, which I think lends itself to exploration, would be the point behind some of that stuff. So I think there will be collectibles and things to do in the world. So I'm kind of hyped for this game now.
Yeah, the free roam thing, the one thing they did show off was, the idea that you can kind of explore a specific track and kind of learn, plot out how you're going to race it and find like hidden things in that track, which is cool. But I mean,
yeah, that's what YouTube videos are for. I don't need to go and plan in game. Let's get real. Or you play online and watch whatever everyone else does. That was like an absolute non-selling feature for me. Huck, any thoughts on MK World?
So I didn't watch the Treehouse, so I didn't see as much as you guys, but I definitely was getting the itch to play Diddy Kong Racing after watching this and going back to, driving around that overworld, though limited. I don't know. I think it has potential to be kind of cool. I'm not a huge like Forza Horizon fan, but I don't mind driving around that open world and finding things to do. So I can see myself enjoying Mario Kart World as well. So I don't know. I'm interested. Definitely not a turn off. That's for sure.
I will say, I haven't seen evidence yet, but if I trust anyone to do open world collectibles right for a racing game, it would be Nintendo. I just hope that it's there. They should have called this Mario Kart Ultra.
Yeah.
MK Ultra.
That'd be pretty good. One other question is like, what's up with battle mode? Like, they kind of neglected that in the last installment. Haven't really shown it yet. I think I saw like somebody mention, or like in one of the menus of the Treehouse, it's there. It's just called Balloon Battle or something. But there is another direct coming specific to Mario Kart, so maybe they'll show it off there.
Yeah, not a lot of anything showcasing online functionality, which I assume will come in the Nintendo Direct. But the other two big things I think worth mentioning: 24 players in a race, which we kind of knew from the last Direct or 2 Directs ago, and Knockout Tour, a kind of battle royale version. Part of me was expecting that to be more than 24 people if it was a knockout mode. Like I was
expecting 99.
I was expecting 99 too. So last thing I'll mention, because we're going to have another Direct on this. On the Treehouse, Sean, did you notice the mini map?
I saw it there, but what about it?
I think it's basically like a literal camera in the game where you're moving that is like limiting what renders, and like an LOD version of the map that it's rendering, it's a very cool map. It seems like almost real time. I didn't look that closely, but certain power ups were definitely missing. But it was an interesting take on a map, and I think and that's not featured in multiplayer or even split screen modes. My guess is that's where a lot of the tech and processing is going to some degree, because it doesn't look that much different than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe visually, like almost indiscernible to me. So
I thought it looked better in the treehouse. Like the original direct, I was kind of unsure, but seeing it in the treehouse, I thought it looked a fair bit better. There was a lot of little details in there.
I mean, their animation details are out of this world. I wouldn't be surprised if, 50% of their art budget is animation, if not more. Like they dedicate so much to like little touches with everything. And
they showed Mario's hat getting wet when it starts
oh
raining.
yeah. Oh yeah. Everyone was getting wet at that. The only thing I'll say, as these consoles start to differentiate in terms of processing power, Nintendo and other consoles, a lot of concerns with budgets of games are as fidelity of assets needs to increase, resolution, how much time does it take, and textures is like driving up the cost of games. Nintendo seems to be taking like a much more, we're going to be all about art direction approach, and we'll have less tech specs, but our games will still look good. Animation, basically the same cost, and shows off very well. And we, rather than leaning into like amazing tech, we are about art direction is their overarching bubble. And that could go either way. That strategy could fail if like AI and other things kind of making other AAA like mainstream consoles much more doable and affordable, or it could benefit them, like especially financially, if that works. Any thoughts on that?
Well, it's, like you were saying with Mario Kart, it's, the average person looks at Mario Kart World, maybe it looks pretty close to Mario Kart 8, and they think, why do I need to upgrade to a Switch 2? Like that strategy or that thought process is a problem for Nintendo. So I agree, like having cool new art styles for every game kind of gets away from that and kind of redirects, you're not really thinking about that. But I think that is a problem for the Switch 1 to the Switch 2, is it looks better, but like not that much better.
I was thinking about this, like I don't know why this has been on my mind a lot lately, but games taking an approach, like I'm surprised Nintendo doesn't have one standard Mario model that they're always improving, and it's used across the board. Obviously certain games would want to change that style up, but even future projecting, thinking of the next Nintendo console as being a hub for everything Nintendo's ever made, where like old games could automatically update, like you're just updating assets from an existing kind of warehouse, and you pull in what you need for whatever game you're working on, and it just all exists there and can be used anywhere. I mean, for big companies like this, like the future potential of consolidating assets, especially when you have such specific art direction and characters that are used over and over again, seems like it could be an absolutely huge win. Even Pokemon characters, like there's so much stuff that gets reused that if you were always updating those and it applied to multiple games, I'm surprised there's not more of that happening.
I mean, they might do that behind the scenes. I don't think they would update like existing games with new assets, though. That would be too risky.
No, but like, let's say the enhanced edition of a game, right? If they've been working on a new Mario model and we're like in Switch 5 and they want to re-release Mario Kart World Tour or Mario Odyssey, and it was made with like it's just like stuff like that could happen almost automatically. And
in that case, when you're like doing more of a like traditional release, I thought you were talking about like rolling updates of assets.
Oh no.
Like on the fly almost.
Yeah, that would be a little tougher. I mean, I think there's potential for that in the future, but obviously this would take a lot of overhead and communication. I just, I'm surprised it's not a bigger thing because it's doesn't seem like it would be that hard to do if you coordinate it properly. Anyway, that's really not that important right now. Anything else to say about Mario Kart World?
Nope.
Nope.
Looks pretty good. I'm excited. Next up, the biggest surprise by far, and I think the game that got the biggest positive reception was Donkey Kong Bonanza, releasing on July 17th. And anyone want to take this one? Anyone have any thoughts on Donkey Kong Bonanza? A new 3D semi-open world platformer action game?
Yeah, my first gut reaction was it looks very Mario Odyssey to me, but definitely they lean into that breakable environments very heavily in this, as like Donkey Kong going through. I liked how they did like little nods to like Donkey Kong Country. There was like some little vignettes of the in the trailer,
Yeah, side screen, like
of definitely like a side scrolling, very Donkey Kong Country-esque level, which makes me think they're like really kind of trying to be creative and play off nostalgia, but also like do new stuff. I don't know. I thought it looked pretty fun, to be honest. And I don't know if we've really played a game with Donkey Kong in this fashion where it's about breaking things rather than just, you know, stomping on characters' heads like a traditional Mario game. So it's kind of neat to see them, you know, expand one of their characters into sort of a new realm that's not really their bread and butter. And there's like no way this game probably would be able to run on the Switch. So it's like a good kind of like technical piece. Now, I don't think they mentioned, so they were mentioning how Metroid 4 could run at 120. I don't think they mentioned for this game, correct?
I don't know.
Because I can't imagine them getting up to 120 with all this breakable physics stuff going on. I mean, I guess it could be possible, but I can't believe it if they would be able to.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think the Treehouse footage was 4K. So I think it's running at 4K. I don't know about frame rate at this point.
Right.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The fact that the whole level kind of seems breakable, that seems like a kind of a next gen idea. It's a cool thing we haven't really seen before. So this is kind of Nintendo doing what they do best, and I think it looks pretty cool and exciting. The Treehouse did like it. It feels more Minecrafty than I thought from the direct trailer.
That to me is the inspiration. Like, Minecraft is so popular. Could we do a fast, fun version of Minecraft?
Right. So, you know, in the Treehouse, you see them actually dig down, and then there's all these caverns under the level. Every level has like multiple layers. But definitely seemed like Odyssey, where you're collecting bananas instead of moons or something like that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I watched the two tree houses. One is an opening section, the tutorial for the game, basically setting up the story, and then a free roam exploration one. And my biggest takeaway, which is not that great, is the animation and expressiveness of Donkey Kong is amazing. This is kind of the new Donkey Kong that was partially rolled out with the Mario movie and the games after, kind of a new look with like more black around the eyes. And I think that's the biggest change. Could be wrong, but I was blown away. And when there's like close-up cameras on his face in cutscenes, the animation is insanely good. It is incredible. And it was blowing me away all the time. So I think, unsurprisingly from Nintendo game, polish, graphics, animation, flourishes, look incredible with this title. I'm not sure it's fun yet. I hope it is, but a lot of times it's kind of, I'm at the behest of who is playing the Treehouse and how they decided to play. And they're playing pretty slow, and they stop and aim and throw like a rock at another rock. And it just felt a little disconnected to me and not that fluid in terms of how fast you're doing this stuff. Like, why is it better to throw something than just go, bash it with your hands or do something? Now, there are like they showed bombs which look really cool that blow up huge areas of the map, but it's got a lot of potential. I'm not convinced it's fun yet, but I think it will be. I hope it will be. And yeah, this is a very pleasant surprise. Definitely my most anticipated game for the console for sure.
I just quickly rewatched it while you were talking about it, and I don't know if it's as destructible as I first thought. Looking at this trailer, it looks like there are maybe like, secret areas where you could break through, or maybe like the top layer you can break, but it doesn't look like you just dig down wherever you want. I think there are like secret areas more so than like you can go wherever you want and dig anywhere. Kind of
I don't think
Minecraft idea.
I don't think you can dig through the world or anything like that. And this is another. It's tough to tell from the treehouse too, because you can go down pretty far. In one level, they dug down like to find a banana really deep in the level. What they don't show is if I go, 10 units ahead of that in the game space, do I dig 2 meters and hit metal or bedrock or something, right? Like how are they gating or limiting how much you can dig? Personally, I don't want it to be free digging everywhere where I'm just like incentivized to explore everything. I want limits in the game. They introduce a character, I can't remember, Odd Rock, I think is the name. This purple rock that's your companion that like guides you. It's when you use it, it's like a trail, an effect that shows you where to go next. It looked fucking amazing. This trail on this music note, it was blowing my mind. So I think, their commitment to art direction over tech, I respect it quite a bit. They don't slouch on that stuff. It's not like they put out a less technically impressive console and don't use it in the best possible way. They crush that stuff, and there's more charm and pleasing aesthetics in a lot of Nintendo games than most AAA top tech Xbox games. Like there's so much charm in these games. It's always super impressive.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on what exactly they're doing, but there's definitely a style that they're hitting with like Mario Kart World, this Donkey Kong game, the previous Mario games. That is like a pretty consistent visual style. And I think it even maybe stems from Mario Wonder. I don't know, there's something with like the lighting or something they're doing where it's a very distinctive look. Now, I don't know if it's just because of the colors they use also are more vibrant, but I think they found like a really memorable art direction, like you're saying, for their games that is good and it works for them.
Yeah, it's super impressive. This title, I believe, is $79.99, not the $89.99. It's typical Switch pricing, I believe. So that's kind of interesting that they're making the distinction. It could be the intention that Mario Kart World is almost like a game as a service where they're going to keep updating it the way they did with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and they think it's a better value proposition. The one thing that stemmed out of this, everything you read about this, the first comment is, this just means GTA 6 is going to cost $600 when it could. Like, can we come up with different ideas, please? Like, who cares? Think of something new.
No.
Jesus.
And it will cost $600 when it comes out, most likely.
I mean, but that's the thing. Like, the more, once they've set this price point, other people are going to follow suit pretty quickly. So,
oh yeah, 100%. But that seems kind of obvious. I don't need to hear about it every time I look up the price for a game. What should we do next? Let's go in the order of this article we're looking at on IGN. Kirby Air Riders coming to Switch 2, or a sequel. I didn't play the original Kirby Air Riders. Everybody loses their shit over Sakurai. I don't get it. I think Smash Brothers is pretty overrated. His like design track record with some Kirby games and Kid Icarus games, like he's good. I'm not gonna say he's not a good designer, but the idolatry for this designer is out of control.
Yeah, I mean, Kirby Air Ride, that was for GameCube, is that right?
I think so. Sean's afraid to go to Sakurai. Just moving on.
I honestly don't like. It's a name I recognize, but I do not even know what he's worked on other than what you just said. So, if Kid Icarus is like one of his big claims to fame, then I don't know. That's not.
I don't even know if that's right. I just want to bring down this Sakurai. I don't think Smash Brothers is that good. And if it didn't launch on a Nintendo platform, I don't think people would care about it compared to other fighting games to nearly the degree it does. People just grew up with it and they're used to it, would be my argument for it's a frustrating game to play. Like the way you input commands and smashes, I don't think it's intuitive. I don't like it.
Before we move on,
Kirby.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Sorry?
He is the creator of Kirby.
Yeah. And Kirby's one of the most overrated franchises of all time too, especially going back and playing the original Kirby's. He hasn't worked on the recent ones. He did not work on It's Just Hell Laboratories. He was not involved. Oh no, he did do Kid Icarus Uprising. I was right there.
Yeah.
So
This guy's the most overrated designer in all of video games.
I did like Meteos or Meteos, whatever that game is, that puzzle game on the DS. That was pretty sweet. Pretty sweet puzzle game.
Sean's afraid to go there. Has to bring up Meteos. Sorry, Huck.
I mean, I don't have a huge opinion because I haven't played a lot of these games, but
there's your proof right there.
Yeah, maybe.
Name another most renowned designer in the world that you haven't played any of their games.
I did not know he was a big deal. So
I don't even know if he is. Sorry, Huck.
So I don't know what Kirby Air Ride is. I just was watching videos, and it's basically Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So it's kind of bizarre that they're announcing 2 Mario Kart games in the same direct. That
and it releases in 2025. I should say that they're both coming out this year.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird choice to be making this game. I don't know if this one is. I don't know. They're going to put a twist on it, which is going to differentiate itself from Mario Kart. But it seems weird to have 2 essentially kart racers, or at least racing games that you're trying to launch from first party. Seems like a weird choice to me, but I don't know.
I mean, it's hard to tell from like the trailer. It doesn't really show much, right? It does look like a racing game, but yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, why not integrate that into Mario Kart? That could be like DLC or something.
Well, let's say this. At the end of 2025, or we'll even give it to midway through 2026, we'll look at the sales and like how many people, it's not quite fair, but how many people play Air Ride versus Mario Kart. And when the numbers fall, we will celebrate the designer of Mario Kart World, not Sakurai, for all future Nintendo Directs. Why don't I know the designer of Mario Odyssey? I should. But he's, or whoever it is not part of these directs. Sakurai is, and he always gets a leading intro. Enough with the Sakurai. Okay, rant over. Let's do Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I'm going out of order here. Now, it says Switch 2 Edition, and it doesn't say Enhanced Edition. So that's a little nebulous as to whether it's an upgrade or how that works. I think there'll be 2 separate games, personally. And I think
you're right based on like the mouse controls and stuff like that. Like it just feels like that's additional stuff that kind of makes it its own game.
Yeah, I mean, personally, when I hear that, I think, wow, that's a good way of enhancing Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, like something you'd put in an enhanced edition. But I don't think that will be the case. Now, I got to say, brought up a lot of concerns with this game last week. I watched the Treehouse, and every one of those concerns was validated. I am worried about this game. A lot of scanning and a lot of slow, boring scanning. The scans took forever when they were playing this game. What are they doing?
Yeah, I mean that's
scary.
They have not. It looks like another Metroid Prime.
It does.
It doesn't evolve beyond that.
My takeaway was, how has this game taken this long to develop? It makes absolutely no sense. There will be a documentary. Well, Nintendo won't allow it, but there should be a documentary on Metroid Prime 4's development because it is so confounding how fast they pumped out other Metroid Primes, and this one is indiscernible.
I mean,
design-wise,
they kind of restarted development almost
Yeah.
from scratch on it, I think, at one point.
Well, that's what I mean. My only thought was that they tried to take it a completely different direction or try to next genify it or do something, and it just failed. And they said, just make another one like the old one is the only thing that makes sense to me, because otherwise this game, like all the systems are similar. Like it's a 2-year, 3-year game at most to develop.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now. They say that it was originally being developed by Bandai Namco Studios, and then in January 2019, they restarted at Retro again, which originally made Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a long time. 6 years? 6 full years almost? That's a long time to be making just Metroid Prime again with better graphics.
Yeah, other people may have forgotten. I will never forget or stop reminding people about the Metroid Prime 4 logo at an E3 presentation that everyone lost their shit over, and no one seems to care about it. It's like, oh, we're finally getting Metroid Prime 4. Oh, I'd rather have a game that's good than never release, or that releases crap. We know your stories. It's still bullshit. I'm fired up. Oh, this is good. Okay. Anything else for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond? We talked about the Switch, the mouse switching.
Yeah, the one thing that I was kind of interesting in the treehouse is there was like these locks to like open a door where you have to kind of like shoot in different places. And they showed using the mouse for that. And then they also showed with the controller. And when they did that, they said controller with some motion control. So I don't know if that just means like there's an aim element, but I think there are motion controls in this game.
See, I'm pretty sure the motion control part was only when they were aiming at enemies with the lock on. You can lock on and then still tweak with motion controls. And the way they explain that in the treehouse, these things are so prepared and kind of rehearsed. I was not understanding how this works. And like, I feel like I'll be locking on a lot for the game. Seems like it's designed for lock on. This is not a typical FPS. Every other one was designed for lock on. I was never like, man, I just want to play this game with free aim. It's the only thing holding these Metroid Prime games back. They're designed for lock on. Everything about them, enemy placement, bosses, get real.
Yeah.
The other thing about it is the 120 FPS. This was kind of like their showcase, like, hey, we're running at 120. I mean, that's really impressive for a game like this. But I think to me, that tells me that there's going to be a lot of corridors and a lot of doors blocking and a lot of slow opening doors and a lot of gating to make sure, because 120 FPS is tricky to get. I mean, getting to 60 is hard. Getting to 120 is not as hard as getting to 60 from 30, but like you still got to be running real efficient to hit 120. I think Ori did it originally on Steam and stuff, but like this is like a bigger open world game, 3D. It's got to be running very efficient. So I can't imagine them, having these crazy, intricate, detailed environments and being able to hit 120. I think it's going to be pretty pared down and pretty small areas. I don't know. I didn't see the treehouse, but how many giant areas were there?
Well, yeah, it was just the intro area, so not much. But
Okay.
My only thing to add to that would be it's running on the Switch. So anything that's a Switch enhanced version, like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, also run at 120. So it seems like it's more a byproduct.
They said Breath of the Wild was going to run at 120?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
I think so.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Tears of the Kingdom is. I might be consolidating the two, but I'm almost positive Breath of the Wild was. Might have, Sean, any confirm on that, or was it just 60 at 4K?
I'm just double checking now. It says higher frame rate, but it didn't, like in the article you sent, but it didn't specify.
Okay. I might be wrong about that. In my head, when I watched the treehouse on that, it's sticking it 120, but I have so much stuff I watched. It's tough to separate it at this point. Might as well talk about those now. Enhanced editions for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Purchase upgrades, or you get them for free with the expansion Nintendo Online expansion pack. At first, I wasn't wowed by this, and then I saw some side by sides in the direct. Like, there's no upgrades really to assets or textures for the most part. It's just, fidelity, resolution stuff. But watching the direct, the starting room looked so much better. Part of like there's almost like this fog or mist in the old version that seems to be, it's not actually that, but it looks like that. It's like a softness to the look of the game that's gone now, which I think it looks a lot better. Gotta say, was thinking like I kind of want to play these games a bit more once this system comes out, and I had the internal conversation maybe all of us will have. Do I continue my old game or start new? I don't know.
Heck, no. You obviously have to do, you know what you have to do? You have to play Breath of the Wild on Switch original all the way, and then play it all the way on Switch 2.
No. I did that 2 years ago, and I'm kind of leaning towards starting over on the Switch. With the other part was the Zelda Notes app, which is part of Nintendo Online, or this Nintendo Switch Online app is what it's being rebranded as. And this is kind of like the Red Dead Redemption 2 companion app that never works. And, well, at least not on PS5. And it like follows you in game. And shows you where you are on a map on your tablet or phone. And they had like a GPS mode where it's go north. The destination is above you. Like, this is so lame. I mean, I like that it's counting collectibles and telling you where to find things that you haven't found, but I mean, can that not be in the game? What are we doing here? Why do I need a phone app?
Yeah, that was a little weird.
Kind of pissed me off.
I don't see confirmation of 120 FPS. All it says is enhanced resolution and frame rates. So
okay,
that's probably a no. I'm
sorry.
Gonna say, but
we should say Metroid Beyond is 120 FPS at 180p. So Breath of the Wild, right. I think I said 4K 120. That is definitely not the case. I apologize for that. But they haven't said what the options are there. All right, we're running long here. Anything else on the enhanced editions that tickled your fancy?
No, I mean, I guess you mentioned the Super Mario Party Jamboree. There's also the Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Both of those are not just enhanced, but they have some additional game modes and content as well. Yeah, it's kind of cool, I guess.
Seemed like there was a lot for the Kirby one. That's kind of a nice bonus. And as we said, the Jamboree adding camera stuff is a very cool feature. So Pokemon Legends, we talked about last week, just improved resolution and frame rate on the Switch. Let's talk about Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Do we need to say anything more about this? We talked about it a bit. A museum showcasing the tech and features of the Switch 2 with little mini games that I can't believe they're charging for.
You've already said too much. Move on.
They're definitely copying Sony, though, with this stuff.
Do we want to guess a price for Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour?
$59.99.
I was going to say $49.99 US.
I'm going to say $19.99 US.
Okay.
And then the last game worth mentioning again is Dragon Drive, 3-on-3, probably Rocket League inspired game, designed to showcase the mouse functionality of the Joy-Cons, where you're playing in a wheelchair, one left Joy-Con and right control the motion on either wheel, and then motion controls to shoot the basketball and to pass it. I'm kind of intrigued by this game. I think it looks kind of cool. I watched them play a game and it looked a little jank, like maybe not that fun, but it's got some potential.
Yeah, definitely some potential there.
Yeah, it's, classic kind of Nintendo thing that looks kind of unique and showcasing a cool way to use the mouse that I wouldn't have thought of. I don't know how well it's going to work, but I'm curious for sure.
I don't see any evidence as to whether you can use a controller to play it. Like something like ARMS was designed to showcase Joy-Cons, and there was a controller mode as well. I don't know. I'll probably buy it, but I have to get a table every time I want to play. The leg thing is not going to work. I'll tell you right now.
I don't know. It might.
Gonna run out of pants. Wear right through those pants, you know? Go
Exactly.
pants shopping. What the heck?
I have to get dedicated. Maybe that's what we should do right now. Get on it. Design pants or shorts that you wear over whatever you're wearing
Chaps.
that have like mouse pads built into the legs. We got to do this right now. This is amazing.
And
could
you
be
could
huge.
brand them Nintendo chaps, and they'd be branded Nintendo. You could sell them for like $800.
Oh, this is amazing. Okay, this is a really good idea. I guarantee this will exist in the next 6 months, what I just said. Okay, last thing, GameCube Virtual Console coming to Switch Online with Wind Waker, F-Zero GX, and Soul Calibur 2 was the version I was trying to think about a few weeks ago with Link as an exclusive playable character. And kind of shocked it's only 3 games, to be honest. Not
Yeah, that's a weird starting
low.
3 for sure, but
especially
Yet
because
another
people
racing
want
game.
like just sell your Wii U version of Wind Waker like HD remaster. I don't want to play this one.
yeah. Yeah, very strange. I mean, I guess it means GameCube games. It's time to sell those, Frank. Get them.
Oh yeah,
quickly.
they're still back there. Yeah, I got to. I've been meaning to do that for a little while now.
I know you've said the last one like 4 times now. There's one more last one I think we need to talk about before we go. That's Dusk Bloods.
Oh no, that's I'm moving from first party stuff. Sorry, I should say.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. Your last one comment.
You're
thought we were
correct.
wrapping up.
I did not represent that properly. So that's moving on from any Nintendo published stuff, exclusive stuff, and now we'll do a little bit of a third party breakdown. And probably we should start with the one that's Nintendo IP, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment, a sequel to Hyrule Warriors based in the Tears of the Kingdom era. Wasn't really into Hyrule Warriors, but kind of a cool idea, I think. And number one, this is like a much bigger deal than I think maybe like casual fans would think, but a new From Software game exclusive to the Switch 2 in 2026 called The Dusk Bloods. I mean, this is the megaton to me, if anything. Like, people are crazy for FromSoft games, and everyone's like, is it Bloodborne 2? Is this their way of just kind of making Bloodborne 2 and not calling it Bloodborne? I think Sony owns the IP. This was a game changer, in my opinion. I don't think it looks that good, but the announcement itself is a big deal.
Yeah, I agree. So I had heard, I wasn't able to watch the direct live, and I had heard about it before I saw the video. And so in my head, I was like, oh, another From Software game. Like, these guys are just churning out games. Like, I'm not that interested, but I gotta admit, I thought the trailer looked pretty cool. Like, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about Bloodborne. I don't know if it is connected to Bloodborne. I just like the imagery. I was kind of like, when the trailer came on, I didn't know right away that it was From Software, and I was just kind of intrigued. And then, yeah, I don't know. I probably will not play much of it, if at all, but it looks cool. That's for sure. So
I think the imagery is very similar to Bloodborne. If you think that looks cool, you should. Well, I mean, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You won't be able to get past the first level, but you should look at videos of Bloodborne.
okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's very dark. I think this is a huge power play by Nintendo to get this game. Anything From Software touches right now seems to turn to gold. Maybe it's rubbing me off a little bit, but I don't think that much. And having an exclusive on this Nintendo Switch 2 is pretty powerful. Pretty power move, I think. This is pretty impressive. They got it.
Now, how this is phrased is a new From Software game coming exclusively to Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026. And people are like, does that mean it's exclusive for 2026 or not?
Could be.
I mean,
could be like the Final Fantasy VII exclusivity window.
yeah.
It's pretty hard to imagine anyone getting a non-first party exclusive in this day and age. So I'd be very surprised if it stays only on Switch 2 for good.
Yeah, you'd have to pay some pretty big bucks, I think.
No. And then in terms of points of failure, we have to point out this is not like a typical single player campaign. It's a PvPvE game. So it's a multiplayer game primarily. Like if they kind of fumble Night Rain, which to me is possible, that's going to affect this game 100%. And I'm certainly like much less inclined to play it as a PvPvE versus a single player game. I almost don't care that much.
I'm a little disappointed they didn't highlight all their chat functionality that they're going to interweave with the C button into this game and have little heads above your little, you know.
Oh, that would break the
immersion.
Dark art direction of this game. I thought it was pretty weak. Like when they showed gameplay footage, I thought the graphics were not that impressive. It felt like a Switch game to me. Like a From Software Switch game.
Characters are maybe slightly blocky from what I'm
From
seeing.
what I remember, the environments were not all that dense, pretty stripped down.
Yeah.
But it is a huge deal that they got a From Software exclusive. So, and I don't think was that on anyone's bingo card for?
I don't think so.
Doubt it.
I mean, it's interesting just in the sense of realistically, are they going to bring over some hardcore Souls-like gamers to buy a Switch 2 for this game? I don't know. I don't think any kids are going to be interested in this, but maybe. I don't know. Like it's.
Oh, they will. This is going to get people to buy the system.
Yeah, you think?
100%.
Okay.
Especially if it's good. I mean, if it gets great reviews and they kind of knock the PvPvE thing out of the park, oh yeah, people are going to lose it.
Yeah, it seems like an audience that is lacking in terms of Nintendo's fan base right now. So if it works, it is a big deal for sure.
Okay, I'd say 3 other things that we have to touch on very quickly. Hades 2 confirmed to be in 2025 on Switch and Switch 2 before other consoles. That was pretty disappointing to me. And Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 coming to the Switch, the whole collection coming to the Switch 2 on release day. And most importantly, in a sizzle reel, the one announcement
to get to this.
Everyone is losing their mind about. I don't know if they actually did this, but it seemed like they confirmed Silk Song, the Hollow Knight sequel, will be released in 2025. I do not believe it at all. But that showed like 3 seconds of footage, and that was probably the 3rd most talked about thing in the whole Direct.
Yeah, I mean, that's all anybody ever wants to see in a Nintendo Direct, so at least they got it. But yeah, I don't know about 2025. That's a good question. And does it mean it launches first on the Switch? I don't know. Like, we know it's coming to Game Pass too, but I'm not sure.
Yep. No, the one thing that was...
you know what? I'm watching it right now. It does say 2025 beside the name.
Yeah.
That's big then for people who like that. But the other story is that this quote unquote huge game getting relegated to a sizzle reel.
Yeah.
That's like 3 seconds long. Like everyone's talking about this game, and the only trailer they're going to put out for a game that technically is releasing in, less than 8 months is like a 3-second sizzle reel. Like that seems crazy to me.
That feels to me like the Team Cherry, is that the developers? It feels like they weren't ready to actually fully announce it, or they, have another, maybe they have to do it through Microsoft. They have some agreement with somebody else, but that was all they could get. So
Maybe.
we'll see.
Yeah, they just wanted something. Can we please show something? And they probably threw him
Possibly.
some cash too. Wouldn't be surprised. Okay. So a bunch of other third-party games coming to Switch. I don't think there's anything noteworthy there, really.
The only thing for me is that it seemed to say Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade only,
Oh yeah,
not remake,
correct. It
which
won't be
is
able
like
to
a
run,
little bizarre.
it won't be able to run Rebirth.
Yeah, or remake. I know, but just Intergrade, like just the
Isn't-
small
isn't
interstation.
No, no.
remake remake with Intergrade?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's
with,
that bundle?
yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That makes more sense. I thought it was just the like tiny bundle in the middle.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think Rebirth will be able to run on Switch 2. So good luck playing the first one. Have fun, and then be stranded until the Switch 3. Okay, that's all I have. I guess the only thing that's missing, in my opinion, from this direct is like console experience, friends lists, what the hub looks like. Obviously, it doesn't look like achievements, anything like that. So that's the biggest question mark for me with the Switch 2.
yeah. I would have thought they would have shown some of that at least in the treehouse, but yeah.
It's just gameplay footage. So that was kind of shocking to me. We don't get a sense of what, other than the chat stuff, what it's like to use a Switch 2. Pardon me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
and obviously, no Mario Odyssey 2, no new Zelda hints at anything. So I don't know if people expected that, but
I did.
I
the
thought-
one thing I did expect when Donkey Kong started showing, I thought it was going to be basically a new Smash Brothers with like how Ultimate was carrying over the Wii one. It's kind of the same version. They've been sitting on one version for a long time, and they establishing that at the beginning, that's going to last like almost as a games as a service for the entire life cycle, I thought would have been the right move, but nothing there.
When was the last Smash Brothers game? That was like a few years ago now, right?
No, Ultimate was, I think, launch window for the Switch, which was mostly shared a lot of DNA with the Wii U version.
Yeah. So that one actually is a little like, it feels like the time is right for that to be the next one to be coming out soon. And, for showing off multiplayer and voice chat and whatever else, that would be a good one. So I'm a little surprised that wasn't there.
Yeah, I'm also a little surprised. Okay, let's get into the letter grades. Anything else before we letter grade this thing?
I'll just talk a bit, I guess, right before I letter grade, a little bit about the like flow of it. I thought it was an okay like pacing to the show, but the thing where it kind of fell down for me was when they started going to the third party stuff, and it was all like fairly old third party stuff. It wasn't like new games third party. It was like older remakes and like other stuff that just kind of brought down the show. And I think they really like crashed the show at that point. And then kind of like, the plane was diving down real hard, and they kind of like pulled it out at the end with Donkey Kong and the Dusk Bloods game or whatever. And I guess Air Riders, if you're jacked about that for whatever reason. But yeah, there was like quite a big section in there where I was just like, I don't care about this. I don't care about this. I don't care about this for a long time while they were going to that third party section. And I think if they buttoned that up and maybe shrunk it from like an hour down to like a tight 45, it would have been a much better show as a whole.
Yeah, I agree. It was trending down until Donkey Kong and Dusk Bloods. That was like very smart to end with that stuff, because it was like, this is it. And then, whoa, megatons at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, let's letter grade it. I'm a B plus.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm more like a C plus.
C. What did you want?
I wanted more games for launch for one, and you got to take into account like the price and all these things that were kind of disappointing. So yeah, C+ for me.
Oh,
Well, the
price
price
is not a
wasn't in there.
factor. We can't
Price wasn't in it.
include price.
And the price
part
wasn't
of
in it.
the-
It wasn't in the direct.
It's not part of the
Right. It's part of the whole announcement. So I think that's what I'm sticking with.
bullshit, dude. That's fucking bullshit. I'm pissed.
I'm gonna land kind of in the middle, you guys. I'm gonna go with the solid B, straight B.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Apparently I'm do we have a term? What's our red term again? For Nintendo, like instead of gangrene or blue haze, I can't remember anymore. Team Red.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, how can we not remember that? Wait, I must have. Let me pull up the Discord. I'm sure I labeled the emoji the right name. Yeah, Mario something. I think it's Mario something.
I don't think
This
so.
is so embarrassing. I got to look it up. But
This was your
let's
turn.
Move on.
But it's not good that we forgot. It means we need a new
Well,
one.
we never talk about Nintendo
That's
anymore.
true too. All right, so that's the Nintendo Switch Direct. I think we're gonna skip what we played this week. We're already an hour and a half in. Is that okay with everyone?
Yep.
Okay. We'll see what happens between now and next week. Otherwise, it'll probably be what we played, including maybe some new releases, South of Midnight and Blue Prince, BLUE, Prince, PRINCE. Anyway, you can watch us on youtube.com/GameJunk. Leave your comments, like, subscribe, and thank you for listening or watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.